Hey, how's it going, guys? See you, Wilmer. Back with another video, man. We're gonna be reacting to this Jason Wilson video, man. He's been dropping bombs out here. All right, so this next video is him pretty much talking about when lust becomes the leader. So I'm assuming this is gonna be extremely heavy. I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of knowledge. He's always kicking some great games. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Look at ourselves. And many of you reached out. Shalom, my brothers. I truly pray all is well with you and your families. Please excuse my voice. I have a sinus infection, but I wanted to respond to all of the feedback I received from my last video on Sharon Moore's situation. Over the last 7 days, I've been encouraged and honestly sobered by how many men connected with that video. Not because it was about Sharon Moore, but because it forced us to look at ourselves. And many of you reached out asking pretty much the same question. How do we keep from being taken down by lust the same way so many capable, disciplined, and prominent men before us have?
What I will want to say about this before he gets into that, man, is it's really sad, dog. Like, we all got demons, man. We all have things that we struggle with. So when I say this, I'm not trying to like judge anybody or anything like that. But man, when you become, at least to me, when you become some version of a public figure and you look like me, your skin tone is close to mine, you speak close to how I speak, and your background is close to mine, struggle, or anything of the resemblance, right? Naturally, even if I don't know you, man, especially if you're playing an important role in society, man, naturally you become my hero. You become something that I want to follow and pay attention to and promote. And if it's like that for me, I'm pretty sure it's like that for other young men and so on and so forth. So let me start off with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has done a great job, and he's not the first coach. You got Mike Tomlin, who worked for the Steelers and stuff like that. There's other coaches out there, but I'm just saying, like, making it normal, for African American coach or African descendant coach to get handed the keys to these major programs. Colorado, starting with Deion Sanders, then Michigan, and for you to come crashing down like that, man, it I'm not upset at you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna grow from this. You're gonna become better from this. But man, it's disappointing, man, to get handed the keys, man. One of us get handed the keys, and it all comes crashing down behind sex, basically. You know what I'm saying? And you're married and stuff like that, and it's just like that embarrassment. And then now they're forced to take the keys from you, and in a way, it makes me feel like they're forced to take the keys away from us. Like, okay, this is why we can't give them nothing. That type of stuff. So that's all I got to say about that.
Well, that's what I want to talk about today. Since I'm a principled man, let's dig up this issue from the root before we cut off the branches. Many men struggling with faithfulness isn't a mystery. It's not culture alone, and it's certainly not because monogamy is unnatural. It's because lust is trained before it's chosen. And most men don't wake up one day and decide to be unfaithful. They are conditioned into it long before they ever step out on their wives. See, when a boy is growing up, he's listening and watching. He's watching how men talk about women. He's watching how men look at women. He's watching how men treat women. He's hearing what they brag about and how men make excuses for lacking sexual self-control. And this isn't all men, but mass majority, and many of you would agree, growing up as a young boy, especially in my city, that is pretty much all I saw and heard. And truthfully, that's where the Lothario mentality is born. And for those of you who do not know what a Lothario is, it's a man who obsessively seduces and deceives women to affirm his own manhood. My father, who I looked up to at times as a hero, he was a 6 foot tall, dark, handsome man. Very strong, not the one to play with, and very charismatic. He was popular, and a lot of men went to him for advice. And as a child, I admired his strength. But unfortunately, he couldn't show me how a comprehensive man of Yah treats women. See, my dad was a popular barber in the city of Detroit, and the barber shop was his classroom. Since there were no cell phones back then, the shop was rarely quiet. Men proudly boasted or yelled about being players and mastered the art of storytelling their sexual conquest. It was a place where objectification was the norm. Men spoke about their women like trophies on their mantles of misogyny, and promiscuity was celebrated. And if you were a virgin past the age of 14, you were clowned. This type of embarrassment, I'm pretty sure many of you can identify with, but I believe this is why so many boys eagerly relinquish.
He is not lying. And for those of you who might look at him like, oh, he's a snitch, and you know what I'm saying, that's just the way it is. I'm not gonna say you're a part of the problem, but to a certain degree, you're a part of the problem, especially to the community, the portion of the community who wants certain things to not be the norm. You know, so yeah, he's not lying.
Their virginity to any girl just to remove the stigma associated with being a teenage virgin male. After my parents divorced because of my father's unfaithfulness, I rarely saw him with the same woman for more than 2 months. I would often ponder in the backseat of his car as we would ride through the city of Detroit with him and his girl in the front seat. How many women does it take to please one man? And without a single lesson being spoken, I was taught something powerful. Women were not favored from the Most High Yah. They were objects to be used and consumed. That belief didn't come from rebellion, my brothers. It came from unintentional mentoring. And by the time I was 12, my focus was no longer on my grades. It was on the girls. My hormones were raging, and there were no mature men of Yah in my life to help me master them. And so lust found a new home. Excuse me. My first exposure to naked women was at my father's apartment via Playboy magazines. And masturbation came without guidance. Desire came without discipline. And Psalm, let me find this real quick. Psalm chapter 51, verse 5 tells us that we are shaped in iniquity, and that truth became painfully real for me. Soon, imagination, my brothers, wasn't enough. I started stealing X-rated magazines from stores without fear of getting caught. I was a middle school boy, like many of you, enslaved to his desires and running down the wrong path. The illusion of control, having beautiful women at my fingertips, flipping through the pages, kept me a slave to lust. And as we all know, gentlemen, lust always escalates. What begins in imagination eventually demands embodiment. By the 8th grade, my friends and I had absolutely no self-control. We groped girls in the back of the classrooms as if it were a game. And I'm still ashamed of my behavior back then, but I must continue to expose it so we, the redeemed men of Yah, can reach back like Sankofa and guide boys off the path that we once treaded before they even stepped one foot on it. Because when darkness is hidden, it grows. But when it's exposed, it can be healed. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11 warns us that we are to take no part in the worthless deeds of evil, but instead expose them. The girls in the back of the classroom laughed it off, but in hindsight, I can see they were offended. Some even yelled to get the teacher's attention. Some froze, some stayed silent, but we begged them not to say anything. And today, gentlemen, when I look back, I understand something terrifying, especially as a father of an amazing, intelligent, beautiful young daughter. This is how women learn to be silent. This is how men learn to feel entitled. And it starts with what we see modeled young. So when men ask me, why do I struggle with lust? The answer is often because it was normalized before it was challenged.
That's a
This is
bar.
why sexual self control is not instinctual, it must be trained. And, brothers, this is exactly why I created my Patreon Brotherhood. Not for motivation, but for training. Because self control isn't formed in moments of inspiration or motivation, it's built through practice, self accountability, repetition, and camaraderie. The link to join is below in the description of this video. Now, let me get another sip of this.
My boy is hurting.
Now, I've been asked, why is it important that I insert sexual before self control? It's because many men have self control, especially when it comes to work ethic, fitness, and investments, just to name a few. But when it comes to lust, it's like we lose our minds. And technically, we do. And this is why experience alone, gentlemen, doesn't make a man wise. Lust doesn't remember consequences, it remembers sensation.
Lust is the lowest vibration that one human being can have in their body. And I say that with all grace and non-judgment. Lust is something that can take a great man and make him good, take a good man and make him average, take an average man, make him poor, and take a poor man and just have him lost for the rest of his life because there is no control. And it's a true addiction because it feels good and it doesn't alter your mentation status, meaning you can still tell yourself who you are, where you're at, and where you're going. People think that it's not an issue like alcoholism or weed or crack, meth. It's an addiction, man. And it takes away from you building, homie. So uh, he's speaking facts right now. I'm not going to take too much from him, but he's speaking facts.
Unless a man intentionally trains his brain so that his mind can be renewed by Yah, the Most High, and he disciplines or weans his soul, his past won't protect him. It will pull or keep pulling him back. See, lust is memory driven, not future driven. It pulls you back toward what once felt familiar, what made you feel good instead of it being good for you. And what many men call desire is often their nervous system craving what it already knows, not what will actually lead to peace, stability, purpose, and what we really desire is love. See, lust is one of the devil's oldest weapons against us. It's the blood in the water. And like a shark, it makes a man tunnel vision where you can only see what's directly in front of you, while the shark is pursuing what he deeply desires. He never sees the harpoon coming from above. Therefore, my brothers, temptation is not necessarily your enemy. Permission is. For it is written in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23, that everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. In other words, my brothers, just because you can doesn't mean you should. For example, I remember many years ago walking into my kitchen during a very disciplined season in my life. I was weight training daily, training in martial arts, completely locked in with the goal of one day having 8-pack abs. My diet was impeccable. But in this moment, as I was leaving the kitchen, I noticed a fresh bag of plain Lay's potato chips that my wife had just bought. And that is my favorite snack. And I thought to myself in that moment, 3 chips won't hurt. I'll just stay longer on cardio tomorrow and burn off whatever fat they give me. And in that moment, the Holy Spirit spoke very plainly. He said, Jason, if you can't deny those Lays, how are you going to deny those legs? That was wisdom, my brother, divine wisdom. Because Galatians chapter 5, verse 9 tells us that all it takes is a little leaven to leaven the whole loaf. And this is how men fall. Not through one big decision, but through small permissions they thought were harmless. A smile, a compliment, a phone call, then lunch together. And suddenly, like a mouse eating cheese laced with poison, you're lying next to someone who will destroy your legacy, devastate your family, and drain your wealth. Remember, brothers, a warrior doesn't test his blade on his own flesh, and a disciplined man does not flirt with his own demise. Now that we've exposed the root of why so many men fall, the question becomes simple. Are you content with awareness, or are you ready for training? The scriptures say that we are not to do anything with a spirit of complaining. And unfortunately, many of us have been conditioned to be complainers, or the complete opposite, don't say a word and suffer in silence until we die. See, awareness alone isn't enough. You have to have application. That's why I created my Patreon Brotherhood. And I'm thankful to the brothers that are there right now creating the type of environment needed for all of us to build and sharpen each other. And just 2 days ago on our live Q&A, these brothers prayed for me and lifted me up. And I created the Brotherhood again, not for motivation, but for formation. Because sexual self-control is not built in moments of inspiration, my brothers. That stuff is fleeting. It's formed through daily spiritual discipline, self-accountability, conviction of the Holy Spirit, and a camaraderie of brothers who will not only sharpen you, but will pick you up when you fall down. Again, the new year is coming in a few days. If you want to go deeper on this, I unpack the practical action steps and daily disciplines inside of the Patreon Brotherhood on many topics that many of you are struggling with. And I haven't had time to really talk about it here because I was so focused on empowering you. But then I realized that, again, awareness is good, but you need the application. And that's a different type of training. See, my brother, self-control is not a switch you flip. It's a muscle you build. As always, my brothers and spiritual sons, I hope this video encouraged you. If you want to be notified when I upload another one, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Until next time, my brothers, keep growing, keep building, and keep striving to be the man the moment demands. Shalom. Shalom.
All right, man. So yeah, man. He was talking that talk, man, as expected, man. Jason Wilson is, at least to me, man, is definitely a pillar in the woke community, in the spiritual community, man. So I got a lot of respect for him. I respect a lot of things that he says, and he makes a lot of sense when he does speak. So I never go against the grain when he does open up his mouth. He seems like, I don't know him personally, and if one day, I'm sure you're gonna see this video. I would love to sit down with you for us to kind of have a moment to chop it up. Just on real life, man. But I appreciate his content, man, and for him to just go so deep into lust and to be vulnerable and to go into his history as well in terms of how he became who he was and pivot that into how he structured himself to be where he's at right now, man. It's powerful, man. So if you didn't get anything else from this video, man, it's the fact that, man, you can be consumed and controlled and destroyed by something that makes you feel the best in the world. The late night moments by yourself with your toys or whatever, or with multiple partners, man. So stay on your grind, stay on your hustle, man, and stay focused, man. And understand that certain things are meant to distract you and slow you down, not speed you up. So before you engage in any of this stuff and ask yourself, does this, one, am I at where I want to be at my life? And then two, if I engage with this moment, even if it's just one time flirting with your enemy, right? Will it speed me up and get me close to where I'm trying to go? If the answer is no, leave it alone. That's all I got for you guys today, man. Until next time.